how to prepare your icebreaker speech using the outline worksheet given to you. Hi, I'm Dao-anis, and welcome to this Toastmasters tutorial series. In your Basecamp, if you access your path and then go through the icebreaker project, which we shared in another video, make sure you check that out if you haven't yet, you will be provided with an outline worksheet to help you prepare your icebreaker speech. Let me show you that outline worksheet. The speech outline worksheet, icebreaker. Use this outline to help you organize the information you want to include in your speech. Now, when you're looking at this, it's important that your mindset is clear, or your mind is set to what you're going to do. Remember that your icebreaker aims to introduce yourself to the club using a speech with a basic structure, having an opening, body, and conclusion. That's it. And it's also like to assess, it's for them and you yourself somehow, if you reflect back to this project, to assess the public speaking skills you already have somehow. Those are the objectives that you have to have in mind. So, of course, introducing yourself, talking about yourself could be overwhelming at first because you are a lot of things, right? Maybe it could be about your name, it could be about the origin of your name, it could be about where you grew up, or it could be about what you do, it could be about your family, it could be a lot of many things. So you need to identify, okay, what am I going to talk about? You see, in my first ever icebreaker speech, I say that because I've delivered several icebreaker speeches already. I lost count. I have to go back and count. So in my first ever icebreaker speech, I talked about a childhood memory that I had. And I shared that. And it's sort of introducing myself that way because of my personality and because I was a bit of private at the time. I don't want to expose so much. I just chose a little bit of a memory, an experience that I shared for my icebreaker speech. But now I'm doing the F icebreaker speech. I'm doing the third. I'm starting the third path for me. And I realized I want to share with my club a new thing that I'm doing, okay? And I decided to talk about my work, what I do, okay? So let's go back to the outline worksheet that I shared with you earlier. Here we go. So there you go. And I thought of having a speech title. Again, it doesn't have to be final, but I thought of using the title, What's Your Work? Okay. So in your title, your personality also will come out. And the first title that you can think of may not be the final title you'll be using. That's okay. You can have a working title there. Just put anything there. Or maybe you can say my work, or it can be what I do. Okay, so it can be all those things. Okay, so we have 3 working titles for now. And then go and list 2 to 4 things about yourself that you would like your fellow club members to know. Okay, first, maybe I can talk about my first job as an accountant. Maybe, I do not know, auditor. Okay, so these are things that I did before. Okay, maybe I can also talk about me being an author, being a writer, okay, speaker, trainer, right? Can do those things. Maybe I can also share about me being a book coach that I started last year. It can also be a speech coach, which I started recently. So maybe that's it. Reasons for joining Toastmasters. This is optional, but it could help if you just think about it, especially if this is your first icebreaker. And most likely because you're watching this tutorial, right? So reasons for joining, maybe I just put something general, okay? Become a better speaker, okay? Become a better speaker or presenter, right? Also become a better leader. at work, especially, right? And then, and also even in family, in the community, right? Goals. Okay, again, this is optional. Do you have goals that you would like to achieve in Toastmasters? Yeah, I do have. Maybe I would like to finish this path that I'm working on, which is effective coaching. So I would like to have the certificate of proficiency, right? That's what you get after finishing level 5 in effective coaching, right? And I also want to become a Distinguished Toastmaster, right? Well, I actually am a Distinguished Toastmaster with the Legacy program. And I'm working on this goal as I do this, right? You can add more goals and then go further. So we have here the opening. It says, greeting. You may thank the Toastmaster or person who introduced you and acknowledge fellow Toastmasters and guests. So you can do that, especially if you're doing it online, but it's also applicable live, face-to-face. So maybe you can just say, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Could be something like that, as simple as that. And maybe you can greet them, good evening, friends, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Now, capture audience interest. Begin with something about yourself that will capture the interest and attention of your audience. So what could be this that could capture your audience's interest? Maybe I could start with a question. Okay, I could start with a question. Okay, and it's, what's your work? Okay, so maybe I'll ask that, and then why do I say this? Because I get asked this question a lot. I get asked this question a lot, and this is of interest to me because I do a lot of things. And oftentimes I just want to say something that is short, right? Especially if you're in casual conversations or if you're in a social gathering, you cannot explain all the things that you do. So you want to say something that is simple. And I can be, if you go back to my list earlier, I do all these things and I cannot say this in a short one. So I would often just say, I'm an accountant, and they would get it already. They know it. As to say, I'm a trainer. What do you train in? Or I'm a writer. What do you write? Sometimes it goes complicated, especially for people outside my industry. So I'd rather just say an accountant, and it's more common in the community. So to me, it's something of interest, but I have to make a way to make it interesting to the audience. So I would ask this question, what's your work? Okay. And then maybe I would say, how often have you been asked this question, right? So I'll ask this to the audience, and then I would say I get asked this a lot, and then I would often say I'm an accountant. But in fact, I am not anymore, right? I stopped practicing accounting since 2015. Okay, so hopefully delivered well, I would be able to capture their interest. And then I will introduce myself. And I could talk about, okay, how I started. So I already talked about myself a little bit here to capture the interest. And then maybe I start to share here, introducing myself. So I'm Chris, okay? I'm Chris Dao-anis. I don't know, maybe just to get started here, you can say accountant, author, writer, speaker. I don't know. Let's see later how we can make this better, right? And then transition. Write a brief statement to transition smoothly from your introduction to what you'll discuss next. Okay. So after introducing myself, I need to transition from this part because I stopped practicing accounting since 2015. So maybe I'm thinking of like telling a story, how I started, okay, or when did that start? So maybe a transition for that would be something like, it all started in 2014. Okay, so I have to review what specific date was that. What date was that? There, and then I would go to the body, the main point. So maybe this is a time when I shifted, okay, shift to new work or career, okay, as a writer, right, as an author, okay. And then maybe the next point would be when I as a speaker, trainer, like that. And then a transition for that is I could just finalize this later on, but at least I have the main points here. Main point 1, main point 2, a transition, and maybe the main point 3. I'll talk about being a book coach and a speech coach, okay? And then a transition, we'll go back to this. I'll restate my main points. What could be my main points here? Let's see. So I'm all those things. I'll think of a word. Okay, so I'll just put it here, a word to describe what I just shared. Something encompassing all those, right? And then I will close with an impact. Maybe earlier I used a dialogue, so maybe I can close with impact. Maybe I can throw back the question, what's your work again? Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe I can just close with what's really my work, or how do I introduce myself now? So maybe, or I just say I'm Chris and I'm blank. So I'll work on this, okay? So this is like the first step that you can think. Just think through this, the different parts, and then plan how you're going to do it, and think of how you can organize, okay? Put more details, how you can give some stories, how you can improve the narrative, of course, write and then improve. So now let me show you the improved version of the template that I just did. So I decided to just use the title, What's Your Work? Okay. And then these are the main points. I decided to group them. Okay. I will say messenger for this part. And then I will say messenger helper here. Okay. So this was before. Okay. And then I improved my reasons for this path to become a better coach. And then, of course, I maintained the other things I had earlier. And then same with the goals, okay? And with the opening, okay, I choose to have that. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good evening, everyone. And then to capture the audience interest, I said, I'll use this. How often have you been asked this question? What's your work? And then I thought of trying to interact with the audience because we're doing the online meetings now. So I'll be doing the speech online. So I said, please type in the chat box how many times. I want to know. And then I'll try to read some answers like, okay, many times, perhaps they'll say that, or several times. So I'll do that. So there's a bit of interaction. Maybe I got their interest already. And then I'll introduce myself. I'm Chris Dao-anis, and I worked as an accountant. But oftentimes I would have to look at people and say, I'm Chris, I'm an accountant. I would use the present tense when in fact it should be the past tense. Let's see, maybe we can still improve this. Then transition, it all started when I shifted careers. Okay, and prove that. Here's the main body. I started to put more details there with the transitions here. And then because ideas were flowing. I even started, even though this should be just an outline, I started to put more and started to really write the speech, even just here using the add text. And I just went on to write here because ideas are flowing already. I don't want to lose them. So just put them in with the main point all there. Okay. Wrote the transition, went on to write even here. You see, so you can do this. Or better, you go directly to your word processor, to MS Word, or to your pages. You can use that and then write your speech. With my conclusion there, right? I decided to conclude with this. So my friends, I am a messenger, meaning writer, author, trainer, speaker. I'm also a messenger helper, meaning a book coach and a speech coach. Da 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 da. And then, so yes, I get asked by these people. I just close with that and then say, yes, I'm Chris. I'm a messenger and a messenger helper. How may I help you? Okay. I will share with you the final piece that I got in the. So this now is the completed speech. I did some editing. Okay. There you go. And then there you have it. And for you to appreciate this, I will put a link to another video that I did where I delivered the speech, okay, for your better appreciation. I hope this video has been helpful. If you like what you're seeing here, please do click subscribe and you'll get more videos on Toastmaster tutorials, other speeches, and yes, even some songs and other things that you're doing here to give a message to help you with your mission, with your messaging, and to give motivation.